All right, hey everyone, I'm Taylor Johnson, founding partner of Exotech, and today I'm going to give you a bit of a primer on building compliant on-chain products. But quick background on myself, I've built some fraud and compliance infrastructure for centralized exchanges. I've been building financial applications on Solana since 2020, and through my, some of the programs I've built, my team have secured hundreds of millions of dollars on-chain. So today we're going to talk about tokenization on Solana. Forgive me, I'm an engineer, so I've been promised I'm not going to try to be too technical, but before we talk about how to build on-chain compliance, we need to understand how tokenization works on Solana. On Solana, there are two existing token programs, the original token program and token 2022. What does this mean? It means that no contract deployment is necessary to actually launch your token. You simply have to call an instruction to create your token, and that's it. But because there are two programs, you need to understand the difference between the two so you can choose which one you want to use. The original token program has full ecosystem support. This means that all DeFi protocols, Orca, Camino, MarginFi, etc., can support it. However, there is no flexibility. You cannot customize your transfer transaction. You cannot customize metadata on the token. There's no flexibility, and that's because the program is also mutable. So there's no upgradability for this program in the future. To address some of these issues, the Token 2022 program was created, which has growing support, but not full ecosystem support. But it has extensible token logic, which means you actually can add custom logic to your transfer instructions. And it is mutable and upgradable, and so new extensions are getting added. I think there's about a dozen or so. But so what are these token extensions? These are composable building blocks that allow you to use pre-existing logic that you don't have to build yourself to build whatever types of products that you want onto Solana. And then this is done in a safe manner because no transfer can actually change the amount that is being sent or who it's being sent to. There's one extension, the transfer fee, that can do this, but it's completely locked down and you cannot actually change the logic yourself. So you know that by using Token 2022, any RWA that is integrating this is going to be done in a safe way. And then you also get to be done, you get to build in a quicker way without having to rewrite all of the logic yourself. If you're coming over from another ecosystem, as you know, you have to rewrite all of your logic for the contract and deploy the contract yourself. In Solana, we're simply taking composable building blocks and just basically selecting what we want to use in our tokenization strategy. So what does on-chain compliance look like in practice? The first thing that we do when we're working with these RWA teams is that we talk about robust access control. We need to make sure that only the folks that can interact with the update KYC information are updating it. Only fund managers can move liquidity around, et cetera. And so there are ways to build very granular and flexible, robust access control into your program. And why is this important? It reduces risk. You want to make sure that there is isolated and limited exposure to all of your critical infrastructure. Now, KYC is very important when it comes to on-chain compliance. There are basically two ways to do this right now. One is through transfer hooks. The big benefit of using transfer hooks is that all of your data is on-chain. You can specify whether you want to have the user's jurisdiction on-chain, if you just want to have their KYC level on-chain, whatever information you want, it can be there. And what happens is when the transfer is created, both parties might be checked to make sure that they're KYC'd, and if they're not, the transfer will fail. So this is enforced on every single transfer. One downside with this is that it limits protocol integrations. Not every single protocol supports transfer hook functionality. So another way to do KYC is using this unfreeze freeze action, which uses a freeze authority. One downside of this is that there's no actual on-chain data. So this is kind of a decision that you need to make with your compliance team, whether that's important or not. However, it has support across the ecosystem. So what this means is that you have this off-chain process that determines which accounts have been KYC'd, and if they've been KYC'd, they're unfrozen. If they're not KYC'd, they stay frozen. Another downside with this is that you actually have to track the transfers and make sure that you're keeping track of which accounts should be frozen or unfrozen, and this is all done off-chain. Now, another important compliance is asset seizure. If you have some wallet that is now determined it is in a sanctioned country or something like that, you need to make sure that you can claw back the assets. This is done with another token extension called the permanent delegate extension. This allows an admin to control user-owned accounts. You may transfer the tokens at will. You may burn them at will. However, one downside is that this also does limit protocol integration. So this is a big consideration to make when you're deciding how are you going to build your on-chain compliant products. One quick note on something that we've worked on at Exotech is composable compliance through using the Solana attestation service. This is a generalized attestation service that could be used for multiple things. But here we show an example of KYC where you can set up custom schemas to decide what information you want to attest to. And so that way the institution, say it's a centralized exchange, could select different wallets and set their KYC data such that other DeFi protocols could use it, leaving a transparent record trail of what wallets are KYC'd and what can interact with these compliant products. So I want to highlight a couple other teams that have built compliant products on chain, Securities being one of them. They have a very robust access control to meet their strict compliance standards. They also use a flexible token policy engine to enforce certain transfer restrictions, built to support many real-world assets and multi-levels of KYC. And they are a US-registered securities tokenization platform. Now, another one is a Singaporean-registered tokenization platform that's slightly different, that uses approvals for deposit redemption, allowing fund managers to decide what wallets actually enter their, can redeem their RWAs and whatnot. So this is a manager-configured NAV. They support token clawbacks with permanent delegate extensions, and then use the transfer hooks for KYC validation across every transfer. I know that's fast. Thank you so much. I'm Taylor Johnson.